Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I mean, ask Kris Jenner. She was a flight attendant. Honey, you're gonna need this tea.
Shit, you too loud, I'm too lit.
What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am Flyy Vegan, also known as D. If you've stumbled across this video, I love to see it. You'll love it here. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so grateful to have you guys. And if you are a subscriber, welcome back. I missed you. Did you miss me?
Don't let my sweetheart.
Okay, if you stumbled across this video, that means that you have some type of interest in becoming a flight attendant or wanting to know the
Tea, honey. We love a good scandal, honey.
But nah, like I want to be able to be open and transparent about my journey to becoming a flight attendant. So this will be like the part one. So basically it's the hiring process, meaning you're doing the application online and then getting to the face-to-face. This is gonna be a little lengthy, so I'm gonna need you guys to pause the video, grab some snacks, and get a notebook because, honey, you're gonna need this tea. And also doing a Q&A at the end. So if you want the tea on the questions that I got, girl, stay tuned. So I also want to say this disclaimer. Even though I'm furloughed, this will be a green video, right? So you'll be able to use it whenever, whatever season it is, because we're always hiring. Well, during the pandemic, being that we're furloughed, we're not hiring right now, but understand that this too shall pass, right? And you need to prepare during the pandemic. So you need to be ready for whatever, whenever, at whatever time. So as soon as they call us back, of course you guys are gonna know, but they're also gonna open the floor up to you guys that are not flight attendants right now. Not everybody's gonna really wanna come back after everything that's gone on in the world, so that leaves the floor open to those that do. I want to be able to prepare you guys during that time on what you need, how you need to conduct yourself, and once you've made it past the application, going into the face-to-face and how to get you ready. This is the literal outfit that I wore 2 years ago when I applied to become a flight attendant. Yes, I'm surprised it still fit, honey. It's a little snug, but I wanted to give you the look of just how I looked when I went into my interview for face-to-face and just how I conducted myself. So I had my hair like this in the middle part. I'll put a couple clips in of my journey to get, the interview was held in Dallas. You guys know I'm in Atlanta. So this is how I looked when I went into interview. I think I had like a purple lip at the time, but I definitely would recommend this look. It's very sleek, very clean. I would say this is my natural face, right? This is how I am on my flights, how I look every flight that I go to, like I said, guys. And you need to know it's important to look good at all times, honey. So yes, I'm gonna stop rambling and we're going to go into the first tip now. Tip number one. This is before you even get to the online process. Take a look at your resume. I call it a resume refresh, because you want to look at your resume and make sure that you have a lot of customer service heavy items on it. That's what this job is basically about. How can you interact with others? Of course, you guys know I come from a news reporting background, so customer service was heavy with that. But I also, when I was in college, I used the fact that I was a host at a restaurant or I was in retail. Of course, customer service heavy. So make sure you're taking a look at your resume and you're being honest. So along with that resume refresh, you're putting customer service heavy content in it and you're being honest, because later on down the line you will get a background check. They will confirm your references from your previous job. So it's best not to lie on those resumes, because it will turn around and bite you. And imagine going through that whole process and then having to get sent home because you lied. I don't think you want to do that. So be honest during your resume process. Tip number 2 is be extreme. So when you've refreshed your resume, you've tweaked it as best as you could, you've been honest, you want to be extreme. When you get to the application process, you'll see, I know you interview online where it's giving you questions and they want to know, do you strongly agree, do you just agree, do you strongly disagree, or do you regular disagree, or neutral, right? So you want to be extreme when they say, for example, it could be a question like,
2 hours later,
how likely are you to wear sunscreen in the summer? You want to put extremely likely or strongly likely, or if you don't wear sunscreen, you want to put strongly disagree. You want to be extreme because in certain situations, the questions might come off weird or whatever, but you want to be extreme in all cases, because when you're flying and you have to make rational decisions or decisions that's best to keep your customers safe, it's either one or the other. You can't be a little bit in or a little bit out. It's just kind of like, do you know the equipment and what do you need to grab? It don't need to be, oh, I might grab this, might grab that. No, if something is happening with a passenger, you need to be extreme and know this or that, period. It worked for me. I mean, I'm extreme anyway. I like to do the most in whatever I do, and y'all know I strive for perfection. So be extreme in your application process, be honest in your application process, and take your time. Make sure you're very extreme with your answers that you do for the questions. And guys, read out loud. Like, even if it sounds stupid, you need to, if you're home doing it, wherever you are, read those questions out loud, because that's going to be important too down the line. Read them out loud so you can make it make sense. If you're like, huh, and you click neutral, guys, one or the other. But I mean, if neutral is just how you vibe, then fine, do what you do. But read the questions out loud so that you can pick the best answer fit for you. Also, it's best to read out loud because you will be doing a lot of reading. Once you become a flight attendant, you will be doing a lot of reading, you will be doing a lot of writing, you will be doing a lot of ingesting, period. So reading out loud is important because once you actually get in the skies, you will have to read to our passengers. I know you guys hear us through the intercoms or us through the interphone every time you guys come on, whether that's us welcoming you on board or giving you instructions on what to do. It's best that you know how to properly read. So that's huge, whether or not you know it. That's why it's like, even though the questions may be crazy, it's like it'll pay off in the end. So
make sure you know how to read, sis.
So tip number 3, after you've done your resume refresh, after you've been extreme, I'm gonna need for you to dress to impress. So that's tip number 3, dress to impress. My grandmother used to say, the way you dress is the way you're addressed. Even though that sounds bad, it's just kind of like, sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it. But really keep that same energy, because it'll be times where you don't feel like dressing up, but then you see somebody on your flight and you're like,
dang, I should have dressed them. Like, dang, I should have looked this way, or dang, I should have looked that way.
Because I mean, that's just the way it is. People see you before they get to encounter your vibe. So you can't just can't be out here thinking that you just got a good vibe. I mean,
dressing crazy and vibes.
That's it.
That's all you got.
So make sure you guys are dressed to impress. This includes dress with your smile. Y'all, I can't stress this enough. Smile until it hurts. Like, y'all, my grandmother, she used to tell me to put Vaseline on my teeth so that I know that it's on my teeth, so I wouldn't lose my smile. It'll always be in the back of my mind like, oh, I got something on my teeth, let me keep it going. But don't do that. Just make sure you are keeping a smile during your face-to-face. So before you get to the face-to-face where you're, dressing to impress, you want to dress to impress on your interview. So after you've done your application process, you'll be doing a questionnaire where you'll have to get on camera, have a nice background, dress nice, and continue to keep that smile. So even though it's just hair up, baby, hair up needs to be ready to go. So make sure you guys are ready. I mean, hair slicked. I recommend something not too crazy. Like if you're gonna do curls or whatever, fine. Of course, wear your natural curls. To my natural ladies out there, wear your natural curls, sis, but just make sure your makeup is really nice or put together. They really want to have the hair out of the face, so whenever you are doing your interview, maybe if you can just pull everything back like this, make sure you're smiling while answering questions like this, and so that way they can kind of pick up on the energy and understand how pleasant you are, so they can get you in for your face-to-face. Make sure that you are smiling at all times. Make sure you're dressed really nicely for your interview online, and that includes your nails. So I don't have on nails currently right now, but if you do have nails, tone it down, meaning cut them off or have them at a neutral color, really short, really cute, and just nice. You know, don't come on the camera trying to be like.
And I think I would be a good candidate because
y'all, don't do none of that. Like, that's a big no-no. Like, girl, don't do it. Don't do it. So you just want to come on as professional as possible, because when you start talking with your hands, because sometimes you get carried away where you don't even know what's going on. You're just so immersed in the question.
I think that I would be a good flight attendant because I like to travel.
No, sir.
So yeah, make sure you guys dress to impress for that. Also, when it comes to dressing to impress, I recommend that you have on some type of watch for your face-to-face interview. Once you've passed your online portions, make sure you guys have on a watch. Make this like a side note to wear a watch, wear like very not crazy jewelry and everything like that. So off to the next tip. Tip number, I think we're on 4. So tip number 4, if you have any visible tattoos, they need to be non-existent for your all interviews. Anytime you see who's hired you, the airline that's hired you, anywhere you encounter them, whether that's your face-to-face, online, questionnaire, on camera, in flight, in training, everywhere, all piercings and tattoos need to be covered, period, because that's one way you will get sent home. That's one way they will throw your application away and everything else. If you have neck tattoos or anything like that, cover it up, sis. Put some makeup on. Like if they're on your legs, put toe tights on, black or nude, make it look cute. Y'all, I tell you, when I was in my face-to-face, I have a tattoo behind my leg. One of the questions that they asked me was, do you have a tattoo? Do not lie. Please don't lie. Unless you have a very small tattoo that you can cover up forever. But if you have something big, I kind of had a big tattoo. So I was like, yes, I do have a tattoo. When they asked where, they wanted to see it, to see if it could be visible during the interview, during the face-to-face process. So I showed her. She didn't see it. She didn't know where it was because I had on toe tights and I had on a dress. So that was A+ on my behalf, because they didn't want to be able to see your tattoo. Y'all, if you show your tattoo and they saw it, you would be going home and you would have to try again next year or something like that. So do not risk being sent home because you have a tattoo showing like somewhere on your wrist or anything like that. Makeup or taupe opaque tights. The next tip number 5, absolutely no cell phones. Like during your questionnaire online, your cell phone needs to be non-existent. It needs to be turned off. Not on silent real quick, not on vibrate. It needs to be turned off. That's because like while you're doing your interview on, online, you do not want to encounter your phone going off while you're trying to get your job, right? So make sure your phone is turned off and in another room, child. Like, you just don't want to risk it. I know too many people who got sent home because their phone interrupted the interview or something happened. You got to be careful at all times, y'all. It seems like a lot, but you really need to make sure you're taking notes at this time, because you don't want to get caught slipping, because you will get sent home. And what sucks is you've left everything, you know what I'm saying? Because this is, if you get your face-to-face, this is a contingent offer, meaning that if you don't pass your test during training or something happens where you got to go home, they can easily let you go. I know many people who got let go a day or two before graduation to be a flight attendant. 6 weeks of training, day before, you know, the day before even getting to walk or, you know, getting pinned, you got sent home. So make sure you guys are being, you know, cell phones out of the picture. That is very important. So off to tip number 6. So my next tip would be, I know it's cliche, but be friendly. Be friendly, because you never know who's watching. Y'all, clean up your Instagram, clean up your Twitter, clean up any social media that you have that's public to everybody, meaning I can get on there real quick and check you out. Clean it up. Be friendly, because they're checking. If you've made it to a point where they want to bring you into a face-to-face, or got to the point where they're doing a questionnaire asking you, they've done their research just like you've done yours. So make sure you clean up your Instagram or any social media that you have, because you don't want to go get all the way to the end of the road and you've went viral for doing some BS that you weren't supposed to do, you know? And be the same person across the board. And if you want to do your own thing, make your page private. Like, if you want to make your life private, make your page private. So that would be my tip for that. Being friendly to everyone you encounter, because it was a lot of times when I was at my face-to-face, and even going to the bathroom, small chats in the bathroom, it's like you want to be kind to people. You don't want to come off snobby. You don't want to come off like you're better than anybody. This is a very humble experience. So make sure you're nice, because you never know who that girl in the bathroom who was trying to talk to you, that was washing her hands too, might be. They might be the whole president of the flight attendant, you know, group for your employer. So you want to be careful. And I want to say, while you're being friendly, make sure that you make associates. I don't want to say friends, because that word get tossed around and we know how that goes. So you guys want to connect with people that you're doing your face-to-face with. That way you can keep a timeline of how it's going, or if anybody has called you back. You know, I made 2 good friends. I like to call them friends because we still keep in contact to this day, and I'll insert a picture of us. But when we were at our face-to-face, we kept each other locked in. We exchanged numbers, and we were able to say, hey, did you get a call back? Or hey, what happened here? We can kind of compare things, so we can kind of keep a note of, okay, they're gonna hit me back next, or okay, I kind of see what's going on. Girl, they didn't call me back after I did my application until like 3 or 4 months after I did my application. So, and that concludes me to my last tip. Be patient. Don't think they forgot about you. Don't think that you didn't get it. Don't put those negative thoughts into your mind, because what you think, you are, right? So if you know you killed that interview, you did the best that you could, you dressed the best that you could, you were as nice as you were, let it go. They will call you. If you know deep down in your spirit, yes, that deep in your spirit, that you killed it, don't worry about it. They'll call you back. I thought the same thing, but I had to be more positive. I am going to be a flight attendant. I am a flight attendant. You know, speaking positive affirmations, you guys know I'm really big on positive affirmations. I was always saying, I'm going to be a flight attendant. I am going to be a flight attendant. So I kept good standing at my job. Let's just talk about that. I was in good standing. I just didn't say,
bye, I got a job, bye.
Again, this is a contingent offer. So anything can happen that can get you sent home. Like, you can have a piercing you didn't take out, they saw it, you going home. So just make sure you guys are staying 10 toes down. Make sure you're staying focused. Make sure that you're ready to go. And of course, I'll be there cheering you on in spirit. If you guys need any tips or anything really quickly, it'll be in my description. I'll kind of type everything out of my steps, so if you missed anything, you can always refer back to the description box before you do your application or anything like that, so you won't have to watch this whole video. All right, and I think my last tip for this would be, when in doubt, keep trying. So say you go through your application process and things just didn't work out, or you didn't really use these tips and you got sent home, or they said thanks but no thanks. Keep trying, you guys. I had tried, I think 2 years prior, and they didn't hire me. Don't know why, but they didn't. So I had to just stay positive within myself and know that eventually I would get the job, right? Third time's a charm. So that concludes all of my hiring tea. I hope that this helped you in some form or fashion. I hope that it was different a little from what you've been seeing, that can really help you become a flight attendant. Of course, I wish you guys the best. Good luck, and if you have any questions outside of this, hit me up. You can DM me, you can email me. I'll link everything down below for you guys so we can stay connected. And I can't wait to see you in the skies. So off to the Q&A. So question number 1, what type of person do you think can be a flight attendant? Can you be married with kids? Good question. So one, let me answer the bottom one first. You can be married with kids, but I've flown with a few flight attendants that say it's a struggle. As you get further into the number of years you've been flying, that gives you more breathing room to even work flights, like one-day flights. Usually flights go from 3 to 4 days, you're gone. But as you continue to matriculate, get your years up, you'll be able to really have that work-home balance. So an example would be, if you've been working for 10 years, you can now, that's far-fetched, but you can bid for trips that can get you home the same night as you left, right? So you can work a full day. I've done a few trips, even at 1 year seniority, well, I like juniority. I worked a trip where I just literally, my base is New York, so I went from New York to Miami, back to New York, and I'm done for the day. Depending on what you can hold, depending on the month, of course, you guys know that it's just about who's been working the longest that can really get to see that happen. So yes, you can be married with kids, but just take that into consideration. So what type of person can be a flight attendant? So I feel like anybody can be a flight attendant, but you have to have the mindset of, I could be gone long amount of time, long days. I could not be able to see my family as much. Again, when you're first starting out, not saying after a while. So it's like, you got to put in the work to get to where you want to be. So I say anybody can be a flight attendant, no matter what you look like, no matter what size you are. If you're put together and you're nice and you just have a love for life, that is what really they find. I mean, some girls, I ain't gonna lie, some girls I've encountered really hate their jobs, and it's just kind of like, well, why are you here if you negative like that? I shut all that down. So anybody can be a flight attendant. You just got to have that mindset, you know. So yeah, I know that was a bit long-winded, but yes. Next question. What was COVID like in the beginning for flight attendants? Well, at one point in time, we were essential. now we furloughed. Which one you want us to be? Do you need us? Do you not? So it was, in the beginning, it was very tough. It was stressful because it's just kind of like, we never saw a furlough coming. We thought we were essential, so it's like, we good, you know? We ain't going nowhere. Okay. So in the beginning, it was, I would say it was really tough, and it was really hard for me to, I don't know, like it was really hard for me to really adapt to what was going on. I was still making it work, of course. You got to be a palm tree. You got whatever life throws at you, you got to be ready to adapt. So yeah, that's really what COVID was like in the beginning. I got furloughed October 1st, 2020. The pandemic started around March 2020. So we had a month off, like a whole month off when it first broke, and then we started working again, and then we got the official furlough information. So it was tough, like going back and forth, just not knowing where. It was just unknown, a lot of unknown question marks that, you know, had us confused. But I hope that answered the question for you. How do you feel on, how does it feel on your, I think you're trying to say, how does it feel on your body going through different time zones? That's a great question. So when I first started, y'all, I was tired all the time. People be like, oh, it's gonna be great, we're gonna go out, every place we go, we gotta do this. Girl, when I first started, after my flight was done, in a bed, and it was a struggle to get up because my body was still like adjusting to being everywhere. I go from New York to LA, back to New York. It was just kind of like deep breath. It was just a lot. So my body did take a toll. Like at some points, like getting sore, I would get swollen, and then that came to compression stockings and tights. But I'll talk to you guys about that later, about the items that you need. But in the beginning it was rough, but after a while my body got used to it. I'm sure my body will go through the same thing when they call us back, because I haven't been flying in a while. So yeah, the body was very much going through it. Is there anywhere you wanted to go but did not like? It seemed like two questions. Like, is there anywhere you wanted to go, or is there anywhere you didn't like? It's giving two questions. So I would say somewhere I want to go would probably be more Caribbean flights. I probably would want to do more of that, more international flying. That was cool. So the only, you know, international flight that I've done so far is Argentina. Yes. So I went to Argentina on Thanksgiving 2019. We got called last minute. So that was my first really big, long international flight. So, and a place that I did not like was Memphis. And I'll never forget, the hotel that we stayed at just had my skin. It just had my skin crawling. Like, I had the worst experience there. I don't like going there. It was just terrible. Nothing against Memphis. It was just like the hotel, the whole experience, like I'll never forget. But that's a place that I didn't like. Where all have you traveled to? Good question. So y'all, I literally haven't been as many places international. I still have so many places to go. I'm only like a year and a half in, but I really have been everywhere in the US. I don't think it's anywhere I haven't been. That's a loaded question, because I've really been everywhere in the US. Well, to every state, I would say. Yeah, I think I've been to every, yeah. I think I've been to every state, so yeah. Do you get any sleep? Girl, no. For my first year, shoot, probationary period, like those first 6 months to the year, no, I did not sleep. because I would be scared to go to sleep because I would be on call. I'm like, what if they call me at 3 a.m.? Which they will do. It'll be 2 something. They call you. We need to be at the airport by 5 or 6 or something like that. So I didn't want to miss a call. I barely slept. Was always stressed, but I loved it. It gave me like an adrenaline that was like no other. Like I always was like, oh, where am I going? Like, and you never knew where you were going until they called you. Like, hey, we got a flight attendant, blah blah blah, we got a trip for you.
Honey, I'm gone, on the way.
So sometimes it would be like surprise trips, like the whole Miami one, San Juan, San Jose. I've got all those off call, like when I was on call at like 2 a.m. or something like that to prepare me for that trip. So I only have a few hours to pack. So I would say no, you don't get any sleep in the beginning, but it gets better, I promise. Did you deal with any rude encounters? Girl, always, but in the beginning, I did a lot, and I have to understand to not get myself like riled up with the angry customer. I have to let them be seen, let them be heard, and understand where they're coming from. Because it's not us. It's just we're usually in the segue of them being mad. That's kind of like you being mad and somebody calling you, and then you pick up the phone like, wait! It's like,
Girl, I was just saying good morning, like.
But I understand that I'm in the segue, and kindness kills, y'all. Like, it's been a lot of rude encounters that I've had where I've been nice to them, maybe giving them a drink, compensated them in some kind of way, did something to like kind of get them on a better note, whether the flight's been delayed or anything like that, offering points, whatever I could to make them feel appreciated, if that makes any sense. So it might start off rocky, but it ends off very smooth at the end. You just got to set the tone. Like, if you're angry when another person is angry, you both are kind of like talking at walls. It makes it hard to hear and then understand. I can't talk to you when you're yelling, but when you bring it down, we can get somewhere. Did you meet anybody famous? Girl,
The tea.
So yes, I have met famous people. I'll insert a photo here of people that I see in the airport and encounters that I've had or whatever. But yes, I have met celebrities. I have met, you know, people that I think are famous, but they're like, girl, they're not even, like, because even people on YouTube that I see and I'm like, oh my gosh. But yes, I have seen and met a lot of famous people. And y'all, let's just say you want to look your best at all times, because it's been a lot of times where those celebrities or those people who've seen me have like slid me their number, or we've went like the couple hours that I was in their city, we hung out, we got food, you know what I'm saying? It'll just be a whole vibe. So that's why previously I'm like, dress to impress, because you never know who you might see. And I mean, ask Kris Jenner. She was a flight attendant. Her husband was on a flight working first class, and now we have the Kris Jenner. So yes, I have met famous people, to answer your question. How do you balance life and being a flight attendant? I feel like that's a really easy question if you're organized, because not only am I a flight attendant, I am a commuting flight attendant. So commuting is way different, meaning I don't live where I work. I work in New York, I live in Georgia. So you gotta just be organized. You can have a life. I know now when I was holding a line, which means I know my schedule a month in advance, but when I knew my schedule like that, sometimes I would bid for ATL trips just so I can come home at night. So it's easy to kind of, once you organize yourself, everything around you will be organized. But if you see it as chaos, you're already going into a chaotic situation. So have you ever worked with the same person? Yes, I've worked with maybe 2 of the same people. That's it. Keep in mind, I've been working for a year and a half, and depending on my experiences with people, sometimes I'll put them on my list. And flight attendants, if you know about the list, then you know. Basically, if you encounter somebody that's negative, always complaining, just not doing what they're supposed to do, just hates life, you can add them to a list of people you don't want to fly with anymore. So it was a lot of that going on because I don't tolerate negativity. So I've worked with a couple of people at the same, you know, the same, like a number of times, but you don't get it too often. So yeah, how do you pack? So I will do a separate video on how I pack because I've gotten extremely OCD. I've gotten extremely organized with, you know, packing my bags because, honey, I gotta make sure I have everything, like from sanitizing my place to, you know, having my uniform to having my regular clothes if I want to go out, everything, like snacks, food. I'll show you how to do it.
I'll show you how to do it.
I'll make a separate video for that one, so I'm gonna put a pin in that. Do you have to pay for your hotels during layovers? No, we do not have to pay for our hotels, and we all get our own hotel, which is beautiful because I love when I'm in cities where my friends are, because I can be like,
Sis, I'm in Orlando. Pull up.
and they can come stay with me, or you know, I can say where I am and we can just have a ball. Like, that's the good thing I like about those. And of course, when you, as you get more like years into the job, or a year, because there was some things that I was able to do, once you get to a certain place, like you can pick where you want to remain overnight. You can pick where you want your layovers to be. So like I said, I do ATL sometimes, or some of my friends are in Miami, I'll do Miami. You know, wherever work takes me, I try to make where I spend the night at where my friends are, so I can party, or you know, we can link up if I haven't seen them in a while. So that was one of the good things that I really enjoyed about them paying for the hotel. How was the interview process? How many steps, interviews did you have to go through? So of course, that's what this video is about, how to become a flight attendant. So I answered that in all those steps that I gave you about the process. Of course, I'll be doing a part 2 because I want to be able to show you guys, like, I want to talk to you about, okay, you got the job, like, okay, you got the contingent offer, this is how training goes, and you know, talk to you about that process as well. How many interviews did I had to go through? So it took like 6 months in total for me to get a call back, but I did the application, I did the questionnaire, I did the online questionnaire, like they had to see me in front of a camera and answer questions. I did the face-to-face, and then I got the offer. So 4 long steps, but worth it when it came to my process for the interview. How did you adjust with having to work with different crew members every flight? I'll tell you, it's an adjustment, sweetie, because sometimes some girls be getting on my nerves, or guys get on my nerves, whether it's them complaining or something like that. It's like, yo, people would kill to be where you are right now, and you being ungrateful. Like, no matter how bad some days I want to complain, I don't, because I know that what it took to get here was something I never want to go through again, like ever. Because I mean, the background check, drug test, like everything I had to go through, I think about that every time I even want to spit out a complaint. So with the people that do that I work with, it can get difficult at times, but I know that I don't have to fly with them again, especially if they're getting on my nerves. Like, I can just add them to my list and move on. I don't really put too much energy into them. If they want to be on that, then that's just what it is. I have one more question that I had on my Facebook that I'm going to answer really quick. So on Facebook, and I love y'all. Y'all answered on Instagram, Facebook. I love it. I love it. Okay, what's the best, worst part about being a flight attendant? What were the best and worst cities that you visited? So I answered the one about the best and worst. Well, I didn't answer the best. So the best city that I went to would probably have to be
2 hours later.
Detroit and LA. Any California place, any place we go in California is always a vibe. Y'all know I'm vegan, so I get all the vegan Grubhub, DoorDash that's out there. I think that's the best part. The best city. But what's the best and worst part about being a flight attendant? So the best part is, and guys, this is a nugget, if you made it this far into my video, girl, you will be a flight attendant, like, period. But the best part about being a flight attendant, which also needs to be your answer to the question of why I want to be a flight attendant, is that not because you get to travel, cliche enough, but no, it's just because of the encounters and the differences and the impacts that you get to make. It's been times where I've been in flight and people were, you never know why people are traveling. It's been times where women have been crying. Literally, I was like a therapist. It's just kind of like I made their whole flight experience memorable and enjoyable, but they were going to a funeral. It's just like I was their aid. We're outside of us doing safety and making sure the passenger is complying. Outside of that, I want to make sure that I'm leaving an impact. I'm leaving a mark, making a difference. And my camera's dying. Hold on. So yes, making an impact, making a difference is what I thrive upon. Like, that gets me up every day knowing that I serve purpose on this earth. And by being a flight attendant, it just gives me more access to more people to change more lives.
I just really gave y'all an answer.
So tweak it how you will, but that's really the best part about being a flight attendant. Outside of getting to travel everywhere, but don't say that. Don't say that. But I think the worst part about being a flight attendant is sometimes decisions are made that are out of your control, like turbulence or weather, things like that. So that could delay things, which cause passengers to be outlandish. So I think the worst part is not having things in your control. And also the best part is not being micromanaged. I don't have a 9 to 5. I'm off, I work 3 days and I'm off 4 or 5 days. So that's really a good thing as well. But the worst part will have to be not having things in your control, especially when you first starting out. You don't get to pick your schedule how you want to. You don't get to fly with people who you want to or go places you want to. It's just straight work, which is fine because I signed up for it, right? So it's like give or take. But my camera's dying. I hope that this resonated with some of you. I really hope that you guys took your good notes. I'm excited for what's to come for you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys in the skies. So if you're not following me, I am Flyy Vegan, and you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. If you're not subscribed,
What you doing?
So subscribe below, like this video, and hit the bell so you know. Again, I hope this resonated with you guys, and I can't wait to see you in the skies.